Hi Flosstube, welcome to MJ's Stitchy Memories. It's been years. I don't find myself at places with Wi-Fi very often lately, so I have been unable to get a lot done. And I'm currently not able to stitch right now. I actually stitched a hole into my finger from a challenge group, and I'll explain that in a little bit. But since I haven't been able to do a whole lot of stitching this year, I have been able to keep better track so far this year. I took a big hiatus January to July of 2023 to deal with some health issues and some other things. And then August, September, I started really getting the stitchy bug fired up. And then I have spent a lot of time with a great friend, and she stitches, so that kind of helped me to, one, have time, and two, someone to stitch with. So I got a lot more done from like October, November, December of last year. I don't have any of those stats with me, but in a future video, I will probably pull some of that out. So basically, I just kind of wanted to touch on what's happened so far, January to the end of March 2024, and kind of how it's working so far for April. So in January, I stitched 13 days, and I had no stitches for 18 days. I started 9 new starts, and I worked on 11 individual projects, and I completed 1 item. My average per actual day stitched was 180 stitches a day. Now, in order for me to make these kind of averages, it means I pretty much have to have huge non-stop blocks of time. I'm not very good at like sitting down for 20 minutes and stitching and then doing a chore and then sitting down and stitching. I thought it would really help me increase my speed and, you know, not get bored, but it takes me longer to like sit down, find my needle, get started back up, you know. So I really have to have big blocks, and I mean by big blocks, I need to have like 5 or more hours. Okay, so if I don't have like 3+ hours in a day to stitch, I'm probably not even going to stitch. Is just pretty much how it's going to happen. I'm extremely slow stitcher, so you know, if I ever figured out stitches per hour, it would probably make me ashamed to call myself a stitcher. But anyway, so January, my running total number of stitches was 2,349, and my average stitches per day was about 180. And that's pretty much where I usually fit, is into the 1 to 200 a day, but on a more consistent basis. So more like every other day or 4 or 5 days a week. So the fact that I had more non-stitching days than stitching days tells me that, you know, I wasn't on my game. February, I stitched 18 days, and I had 11 days of no stitches. I started 8 starts. Not a shocker. We know I like starts. I worked on 14 individual projects, and I completed 3 small. All these completions were small things. So my average per day was 256 stitches because I had some longer days to work with. And my stitches that month were 4,610. So by only adding like 6 more days, I almost doubled my stitching. So like I said, the more days I have and the more consistent days in a row that I have, because then I can get the things done I feel I need to do each day for self-care, for health, for, you know, food, etc. And then I can feel like I can grant myself the stitching time. I also have found that I cannot stitch late at night. I thought it had to do with sleep. And I thought it was like, okay, a certain time of night, I'm sleepy, so it's hard for me to stitch. And that isn't it, it's my eyes. And it has to do with the number of hours that my eyes are working, not necessarily looking at small things, which I have to find out what's wrong with my eyes. I have a feeling it's because of my thyroid. So we're just waiting on specialists to get approved for me to go figure out what we can do about it. But like, let's say I wake up at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning and, go around, do things, do the household things, self-care things, play on Facebook, whatever I do throughout the day, take a walk, play with some dogs, whatever I'm doing. It all still is using my eyes. And it may not be looking at detail work, but it's using my eyes. And the longer I go in the day before I start stitching, the harder it is on my eyes to actually see the stitch. They start feeling grainy. They start feeling tired. They start feeling like I can't see. They start feeling like I have things in my eyes. And then I just don't stitch. So I know a lot of people prefer to get everything done they need to do, and then spend the rest of the night before bed stitching. And I'm finding that I'm going to have to break up my stitching time and my daily things I have to do time, but not into short, let me sit down for 20 minutes. So I'll need to do a chore and then give myself a 2-hour block and do something and give myself a block of time. But I'm just not in the position to be able to start trying to do that yet. I have a whole bunch of things getting ready to be some major changes for me. I'm looking to move again, and I found out that half of my storage unit that had gotten damaged in the tornado, and they moved me to another unit. I didn't realize the unit that they moved me into also had been damaged, that they never caught. So I have a rodent issue, and I don't know how that is affecting. I know it's affecting some of my clothes and things like that. I don't think it's affecting any of my cross stitch. I believe that's in the other unit. I have 2 units kind of side by side, with a big corner in the middle. So there's a big cement corner block in between the 2 units. So I think that the other one that has, my crafting stuff and my camping stuff is, half of my camping stuff is secure. The other half has water damage, rodent damage, and things like that I just don't have the headspace to dive into, nor the time right now. So I hope that in May, I'll be able to dive into that and figure out where all that stands. So I definitely need cross stitching for stress relief. And I'm sorry I talk with my hands. I'm trying to learn how to not do that. But I don't have very many projects with me. I just have a few things. I always carry around a stitchy bag, or try to remember to carry around a stitchy bag in case I get somewhere I can stitch. Right now I'm with a family with a bird, and they prefer for me to not stitch when he's out of his cage, and he's out of his cage about 16 hours a day. So, that leaves me an 8-hour window to sleep and to stitch, so it isn't happening. But I'm getting some organizational things done, and that's beneficial and useful. Okay, so we finished off February. March, 2 things happened. One, it's, March Madness, so a lot of stitch groups have a lot of challenges going on. I moved to the new server with Myth and Magic and attempting to figure that out. I did get a lot more stitches done because of that. So I've always loved Myth and Magic because it's a short period of time, 30 days or less, and then you get a little bit of a break that you just kind of go, needles as fast as you can and just get as much done on whips as you can. And I kind of really like that. And usually I pick some whips that, you know, I really don't want to stitch on. So it kind of forces me to work on them. I didn't have that option this year. I just kind of had to stitch what I had. Which, like I said, is limited to, you know, a few bags that I have at my friend's house, and then the, you know, bag that I carry around with me. So March, what ended up happening was I stitched 26 days in March, and I only didn't stitch 5, and that was because I was at a house where I wasn't able to have any stitching with me. I started 11 new starts. Again, we're not shocked. I worked on 18 individual pieces, and I had 2 small finishes. None of these are fully finished. They're just stitches completed. And that moved. My stitches for March were 11,434, which is a record month for me, I believe. My average was 439 stitches a day. There was actually 2 days I hit almost 900 stitches, which explains why I have a hole in my finger, because I push the needle through with the inside edge of this finger, and I just keep splitting, like, you know, this long splits in the side of my finger. So that's just where the needle finds it again, and it just keeps getting deeper and deeper and sore and sore. So once it gets to that point, I kind of have to lay off for a while and just kind of let the skin toughen up and let it heal until I can find a thimble situation that works. I've tried 4 or 5 different ones. They either don't fit, don't work, aren't comfortable. I know at one point in time I had the adhesive little like leather dots, but I kept getting caught on the edges of those. So I would kind of rip it off and then still put a hole in my finger. So I'm in search of the perfect fix to that situation. So anyway, my year-to-date total for quarter 1 of 2024 is 18,393 stitches, which is pretty close to half of what I did all year last year. So I'm pretty happy with that. It's by no way near a record quarter for me, but it's been pretty good. So I'll just show you the few I have here, and at least you have some stitching to look at. Okay, the first one I started this in, I don't remember what month I started this for Myth and Magic when it was still on Facebook, and it is charted by KLT Charting, which is in England, and she has a lot of wonderful patterns. I just don't have very many of them, and I fell in love with No Evil. It's in her Ollie Owls series. So Ollie Owl is one of her owl characters, and he has a couple of different little series that he does. And so this one is the No Evil. I don't have the picture of what it looks like, but I'm almost done, so you can kind of see what he looks like. So it is the Hear No Evil, See No Evil, and Speak No Evil owls. I have found out that there is a 4th No Evil owl, which is Do No Evil. And I'm trying to find a way, I have plenty of fabric here, I'm trying to find a way to see if a 4th owl can be created, and then I can go ahead and have all 4 evil owls. Now they're supposed to be on a limb, which I didn't realize when I started this. I guess when I was looking at the pattern, I was looking at a paper chart, and I didn't print it out dark enough to be able to see that there's actually a limb that they're supposed to be on. I don't know if there's room to put it on here because I only have like 1.5 inches before the bottom of the fabric. So I might just put something, you know, a ledge or something, just to make it look like they're not floating in the sky. But this is where I'm at. I need to finish the eyes here, and the eyes and the rest of of his head here, and I love them. I'm kind of sad that they're finishing because I've spent a lot of time with them since last year. So I did start this in 2023. So anyway, there's the No Evil Ollie Owls. If anyone knows of a fourth owl that I could make as a companion piece to these, or if anybody knows of a Do No Evil owl out there, please let me know, because I would love to do one. Another one that I have, this is a complimentary chart from Doreen Jones, and it's called Catch of the Day. Excuse me, I just threw my crossstitch on the floor. Again, this one almost is done, so you can kind of see what it looks like. It's done on a scrap of 14 count Aden off-white. So it's going to say, you are, the best catch. And the fish is hanging off of a fishing line. And there's, some more to do here. I still have, a lot of this to do. I still have a lot of wording to do. I still have some small motifs to finish. But I started this March 13th, 2024. And, of course I would love to finish it soon, but I don't want to put dates on things or goal dates. As I've told one of my friends, and they think I'm crazy, and probably rightly so, because I don't stay in the same place all the time and I move frequently, I don't have spaces to hang my work or display my work. So it all just kind of sits in. Even things that I've had fully finished that I've paid to have finishers do, I can't display them anywhere. So they just sit in a box. And I never look at them because they're in a box. Or they're in even some are in a see-through tote, but I never see them because I don't open the tote. So it's one of those kind of situations. If I leave them with something left to do, then they're always active. And they'll come around again, and I'll work on them, and then I'll see them. So to me, if I finish them, I technically am saying goodbye, and that does make me sad. And if it shouldn't, I understand that. I understand it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's how it is to me right now with the way my life currently is. So, where I would love to have more finishes, definitely. I would love to be able to have things completed so I can display them, and to have that, endorphins from having a finish. I don't like not being able to regularly or semi-regularly see my projects. The things that are at storage right now, it's bugging me that I can't see them, even if I can't work on them, because a lot of them I need threads, or I need embellishments, or they need a lot of frogging, or they're full coverages and I don't have a good setup for that, or there's many other reasons, but there are ones that I remember that I miss that I'd love to work on. So that is a goal for 2024, is to, which I've said ever since I've started these videos, I'm constantly organizing, reorganizing, trying to come up with solutions that work for me. And just, I haven't found the perfect solution yet. I've seen solutions that work for other people that are great. I try them and just doesn't work. So I'll find what's right for me. It's probably going to be an amalgamation of multiple ideas from multiple people is probably what it'll have to be. I found the Witchy Stitcher, and kind of late into the game, and didn't realize some of the wonderful patterns that she has, but I did see, I have a couple of her things that I'm working on, not with me, but her 6th anniversary piece that was a complimentary pattern to those of us in her groups is birthday cupcakes, but they are Halloween birthday cupcakes. They're not birthday, they're anniversary cupcakes. And I fell in love. And I originally was going to do them as a one piece, and I put them on the same piece of fabric, but I'm going to do them as separate individual cupcakes for finishing, because I have found some other designers' cupcakes, and I kind of like the idea of having a cupcake focus of some sort, whether it be like, a wall hanging, and then I don't know if I want it to be maybe, different seasonal themed or holiday themed, or if I just want to kind of put them all together and just say cupcakes. Anyway, so I was working on these a lot, especially in March. I started them in March. So the first one is what I'm calling the ghosty cupcake. So he's a black cupcake with white icing, and then he has ghosts around him, and he is not finished. But he is one of the 3 anniversary cupcakes. The other one is finished, and I'm calling him Frankie Cupcake because he looks like Frankenstein. So he's the Frankenstein green, and he's got the little bolts, on the side, and he's got the electricity, and if you all know, kind of Frankie has my heart. I'm eventually going to do the Amy Brooken Witchy Poo series, and the Frankenstein is that. Other than Witchy Poo, the Frankie is one of my favorites. So he is finished. So on one hand, I'd like to count him as a finish because he's, since I'm going to be fully finishing them separately in some way, like finish each piece separately and then attach it to a display that is going to have more than one, is what I'm thinking of. But anyway, this is Frankie. And then last one is just started. Poor little start on what I'm calling the Jackie cupcake, because he's orange, kind of like a jack-o'-lantern. So that's kind of where I'm at. I actually I'm out of colors for this project, so this is one I need to add to my shopping list, of which I'm also making while I'm away from being able to stitch. I don't have a picture of Bee's Knees. This is a project from, I just forgot the designer. How could I forget the designer? I feel bad. She has a series of how they're finished is into their primitive styled. And they are finished into weighted individual characters, so they can be stood up or placed in a bowl or whatever. And she has a set that I missed, which was a rabbit and I can't remember the other one. But when the bee one came out, I jumped on it. I was like, I'm not going to miss the bee. So really all I have is the bottom part of his pants and part of his legs and his shoes. I'm sorry I can't show you what it looks like right now because I don't have any pictures with me. But this is a kind of a character, primitive colors. It's called Bee's Knees. And those of you that remember, that are still here after all these years, remember that my name in the Greek language means honeybee. And so I've always gravitated towards projects that have bees in them or have a bee theme, like bee skeps or those sorts of things. I have not been the huge fan of sunflowers as much. I mean, I like them, but they're not my favorite flower. But most patterns that I find with bees have sunflowers, and I'm starting to just make myself appreciate stitching sunflowers, because I'm just going to have to be able to stitch a lot of the bee-themed projects that I'd like to do. We all remember that yellow is not my favorite decorating color. I like to landscape with it. I like to eat things that are yellow, like lemons and things. But as far as decorating or wearing, it's just not my favorite color for that. But I went through some PDFs I have, and I have a lot of yellow based PDF cross stitch files that I need to do. So I think that I just need to embrace yellow and get started on it. So I'm hoping that April being my birthday month, that I will embrace yellow and start working on more of these not only bee patterns but other yellow themed projects. For autism awareness, I had a hard time finding a pattern I loved. I had very limited stitching time around Autism Awareness Day, but I wanted to do something. A dear friend of mine has an autistic child, and I wanted to do something to commemorate. And there were some beautiful puzzle piece ones that I loved. They were very intricate. There were apples, and there were butterflies, and there were just all sorts of beautiful autism awareness pieces I just didn't have fabric big enough or colors for. So I found a small puzzle autism awareness heart, and I started that. I don't have his picture, but basically it's a 4 puzzle piece heart using the 4 main colors of autism awareness. So it's a dark blue, it's an orangey red, and it'll be a yellow, and then it will be, I think the 4th color is either yellow or another blue. I think they charted it green, but I think I moved it to either the full red or another brighter blue. But this is where I'm at so far on the Autism Awareness Heart. I do not remember the artist. I don't have the chart with me, which is another reason why I'm not getting any stitching done, is because I don't have certain charts with me. So it would be really great if I would put everything to do with each piece together again. But, you know, when you run out of bags, you know, it doesn't happen. You run out of either Ziploc bags or handled bags or whatever to put things in. It keeps me from keeping it all together. I did find an older whip that I haven't worked on in years, and I finally found the whip. Now I just have to find the threads, and the pattern is on my old computer, but I think that I may have copied it down to the thumb drive before the computer crashed. So if I find that, I'm going through storage. Anyway, this is T, as in drinking tea Rex. So it's a Tyrannosaurus Rex dinosaur, and he's holding a cup and a tea bag, and he has a top hat, and I love him, and I will someday finish him. So I've got one piece down. I just have to find the other 2. Just have to find the threads and the pattern. So we're getting there. We're, you know, on this organization gambit, we're starting to get there. There was a Etsy pattern that I loved that was a Mickey pattern, and I missed it. And a great friend of mine has it, and when I return back to her place, hopefully I'll be able to start kitting it up. But in the meantime, I was gifted this. It's called Mickey Tree. Actually, I think it's called Fairy Tale Christmas Tree Ears Mouse is what I have written down, but I'm calling it the Mickey Tree. And I started this also in March, and so it is a pot and a tree, and the ornaments are Mickey ears. It's just the bottom half is a red face and the top is black ears. So this is all the farther I am on this. I don't have very much done on it, so it's just... And then the last project I have, I can't show you because I am doing a test stitch. And I'm excited to do a test stitch for this pattern. and I have changed fabrics, which is making it a whole lot easier. I had started it on 14 count using 3 threads, which is definitely what the designer wanted for the look. And I found out I am not good with three threads without a laying tool. And I don't have a laying tool right now. Mine is missing. Nor do I have a good portable frame system to hold a Q-snap or a ring, hoop or anything on. So my Lowry is okay, but I can't get it to hold a hoop tight enough or in the right angle position for me. I can't really get it to hold my Q-snap tight enough without me feeling like it's going to snap or break the Q-snap. So I need to get the corner clamp, I think is what I need to get for it to be able to hold the Q-snap better, and I need the extended arm. And both of those things are not within the budget at this point in time. So I'm just stitching this in hand, which I can't do with the laying tool anyway. So I moved it to a 16 count, and I'm doing 2/2, and it's working out much better. Can't show you it yet, but I'm just excited that I'm getting to do a test stitch. So that is kind of what I have for right now. I know it isn't much, but it's a little bit, and I'm just glad that I'm back. Thank you for those that have gently nudged me to return. I still have not learned editing. I still talk with my hands, and even though I was trying to be cognizant of not doing that, but I'm back. It's doing what I can do for right now. I hope I will get better. I definitely love any constructive criticism you have, tips, tricks, ideas. And I just thank those of you who have hung around, that are still here and will, keep me to this. Now, I anticipate having probably a haul video. I hate calling it that. But I've had some stitchy kindness, had a lot of stitchy kindness, and I've done some birthday purchasing, and I have some gifts. So I think that I probably will try to do a video of kind of all the new things I've gotten this year, because some of the stitchy kindness came early. So I think that I will probably maybe do that as the next video. And let's see, what else did I have planned to do? I think that's about it for right now. I always hope to do things more regularly. I would love to have some consistency where I could film on a, twice a month basis, but not to that point yet. Notice the notebook in front of me. I'm working on catching up on a lot of audiobooks. I like to listen to audiobooks before I go to sleep. It helps me to calm down the list of things to do that goes through my head that prevents me from sleeping. Oddly, my favorite ones to listen to before bed are Patricia Cornwell's Case Carpetta series, which is weird to listen to a series about a forensic pathologist and murder and death and, cutting up bodies and autopsies before you go to sleep. But it's very rhythmic listening. It's easier for me to listen to by audiobook than reading the books, because when I read them, I'm sitting there with a dictionary going, what does this word mean? What does this word mean? So it's a little bit easier for me to do that with an audiobook. One of my favorite narrators is CJ Crit, and she reads a couple of her books. One of my other favorite narrators is Lorelei King, and she reads a lot of different authors, one of which is Janet Ivanovich and one of Dorinda Jones. So I've been listening to some some of those books as well. So what I'm doing here in my notebook is trying to figure out, which of the case carpetas have I missed, because there are some I missed, and then I want to go through and at some point listen to them in order. So I'm getting what the preferred read order is per the author, Patricia Cornwell. So working on that. I'm trying to find some James Pattersons I'm missing. I'm trying to find some Sidney Sheldons. And then I have a long list of like historical romance ones that I'm trying to find. So when I can't stitch, I'm sourcing, free or inexpensive or ones that I can put under my monthly, subscriptions to different audiobook sites so that I can read them at my leisure. So for some reason the library one isn't working. It was working and I was doing great with that, and then suddenly it stopped working and I need to go in the library and just figure out what's happened. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. I've been watching a lot of Disney lately, which is one of the challenge groups I'm in is focused on Disney this year, and so I'm really getting to watch some of the old Disney movies that I loved as a child and young adult. I've missed a lot of the ones. I think we're going in order by production date of the original, but then if it had, part 2, part 3, we're watching those behind, like Lion King, then Lion King 2, or, Aladdin, then Return of Jafar. So even though Return of Jafar was not the next Disney movie. So let's see, what else am I doing? My Myth and Magic is over. My team got out, so we've got to wait a few more rounds before we get back in. So I guess my clan was not able to transfer over to Discord yet, so I've been temporarily adopted by another clan. And I think they like having me there, I hope. So I'll stay there until a change needs to happen. I am really bad about remembering to post in a lot of my challenge groups, so that's another thing on my list here is I think I need to make myself a to-do checklist for each day. Did I post in Group A, Group B, Group C? Did I get my postings done? And it's not something I need to do the last thing before I go to bed. I've tried that. It's not really working out. Thinking I'm going to do it first thing in the morning. Hasn't been working. So I got to figure out a better way. But once I stop, I stitch 300 stitches. I need to be posted in 5 different groups. Then I get looking at Facebook or email or texts or Messenger. And next thing you know, it's 5 hours and I'm not getting any stitching done and I'm, not getting anything done. So I was trying to hold off doing my stitching at the end of the night before I went to bed. I'm doing my posting at the end of the night before I went to bed. Excuse me. That didn't quite work. I tried first thing in the morning and that hasn't quite worked. So I'll figure the solution. But that's all I have right now. It's kind of a long video for what little I had to show, but I'm just glad I'm back. I've still been watching you all. I just haven't been making a lot of comments on videos because I kind of have to choose to use my my Wi-Fi time a little bit more judiciously. So it's like I can either watch the video or comment. I usually can't end up doing both. So, but I am watching you all. I am still subscribed to a bunch of you. There are new ones I need to go and subscribe to and catch up on. There's always someone new that I need to subscribe and catch up on. So thank you all so much for being out there for this community. It's a beautiful community. I love sharing this passion that I have with you. Even when it doesn't seem like I'm very passionate about it, it is always in my mind and in my plans, whether it actually comes to fruition or not. So I have some dreams of some traveling for cross stitch. Hopefully by 2026, if I can get my housing situation fixed this year, that hopefully 2026 will give me an opportunity to to go do some traveling. There's a cross stitch shop up in Michigan. I've been dying to go to ever since our ATM moved from Texas to Michigan. Or Minnesota. I can't remember which one. Minnesota. I can't wait to get up there. Anyway, whichever state she's in. There's, Garon is opening up their new shop. I'd love to go there. I've never made it to Silver Needle. There's just lots of shops out there that I want to go to, that I have dreams of going to. Of course, there are retreats that I've never gone to that I would love to go to. So I'm trying to find ways to, try and do something in 2026. So that's what I'm doing right now. So thank you so much for staying around. Keep stitching your wonderful memories, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.